Welcome to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy is a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, a former protective officer for the CIA Global Response Staff, founder and CEO of the Able Shepherd Program, a husband and father of four, and a personal friend of mine. Now here's Jimmy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. I'm your host, Jimmy Graham. And I am out, where are we at? Are we in Como?
We're in Como.
This is actually Como?
Yeah.
Como, Colorado. And this is just one of my dear, sweet friends that I love, Pony Anderson. How are you?
I'm good, Jimmy. Thank you. And I love him too.
It's so good to see you.
It's always good to see you.
Let's just jump right into it. And how did we meet?
You had duty to act. And I think, did you come up to my place? I had the Disaster Management Institute and Center for Simulation. I don't remember. How did we meet?
It had to, you know what? Somebody told me about you out there, and I came and met with you, and you invited me. I invited you to do to see the one we just talked about a little bit ago, that demonstration where I had that guy flatten me.
Yeah.
Andrew, and I had Mike and Chad, Mike Davies at the time, and then later Chad, and we had that little shop right there off Park Street in Castle Rock.
Yeah.
And then you had.
It was Duty to Act.
We became fast friends. It's still.
We did.
By the way, it's still Duty to Act LLC.
Really?
Yeah, we filed the trade name of Able Shepherd. So
I love
it
that.
lives on, right? So we are on year 13, going on 14. It's been a long road.
That's amazing.
A long road. As you know, we pretty much lost everything.
I know.
And started over, and
I know.
God provided the entire time. I was talking today with Pinkham, Neil Pinkham.
Yes, Neil, love him.
About how, I was as close to God as I'd ever been during those valleys, because you're just talking to God all day, every day. That's
true.
Right? And you're praying for one person to walk in the door. If you're starting a business and all that stuff, we end up losing the lease on that building, you remember all those, the valley years of going the integrity fundraising, working at the church, working for the railroad and all that kind of stuff. And got the opportunity with Dick Abramson over at Centennial Gun Club to launch the Active Shooter Response Training Center. That started to go, didn't go, and out of the ashes was birthed Able Shepherd.
One thing that you said that I think is really key in all of this, you were talking about, you walk through the valley of the, but the next word is the shadow of death. It's a shadow. Shadows can't hurt you. Yeah. It might be a dark time, but a shadow can never hurt you. And you just stood steadfast, and you just kept on plugging. You never gave up on your faith. You just kept putting one foot in front of the other. And I think that God's just blessed you for all of that, Jimmy.
Amen. And I am rich in relationships. You're one of them, right? So it's like I want to talk about the disaster. All that stuff was so good. Like those valleys, that's the good stuff. We got a world
it is a
right
good
now
stuff
that wants an easy button.
That's exactly right.
Resist. Do not hit the easy button, because there's no value in easy. And in those valleys is the gold. That's where your character's built. That's where people are just fortified.
It's absolute
So
truth.
good.
100% truth. It's in those dark times when my husband was killed, and Jimmy knows that, in an equipment accident when my daughter was 6, and very, very difficult time, but also the growth. Unbelievable growth. And God doesn't make mistakes.
That's right.
And if we don't lose focus, and several years after that, my house burned. And again, I got to, can I share a story about that?
Go.
So my house caught on fire. I was at work. I was in a very big meeting. We were getting ready to do the largest terrorist-born exercise ever conducted on American soil. Wow. And it was based on the Mumbai-style attacks. And we used Park Meadows Mall, Denver Union Station, Smedley, and then my footprint was the largest of the 4. And it took 2 years to plan this thing. So I was in a very big meeting. We're getting ready to go. We'd been working on it for 2 years. And I get a phone call. And this gal comes running in because she answered my phone, said my house was on fire, and that there was some girl in the background screaming. I'm like, well, I only have one daughter. And so now and I drove home, calm, talking to the Lord the whole time, drove all the way home. It was raining. The house got struck by lightning. It went through the entire electrical system. My daughter was safe. They had her over at a friend's house. And the fire department they're not going to let you in. I was a fireman. They don't let you in until things are over, right? So when they were all done, they left, and I was waiting for somebody to come and board up the windows, because you do want to try and keep whatever it is you might have left in there, right? So I was waiting for the insurance company to send the guy up to board up the house, and it's just drizzling. It's rainy. This is the best part. Wait for it. So I'm sitting in my truck and it's drizzling, and I'm so hungry. I've been at work since 4 in the morning or whatever it was, and I'm starving. And I think to myself, I had ice cream in the refrigerator, and I think there was a root beer, ice cream in the freezer and a root beer in the fridge. So I go in the house, and you can't see anything because they pull the power off the house. And houses breathe. I mean, just by having power on, they actually have a life to them. But when it's gone. They're deathly quiet. And so I went inside and I made myself a half melted ice cream root beer float. And I went outside, and I had wood stacked outside because we heated with wood. And I put my feet up on the logs, and I was sitting out there in my chair in the drizzle, thanking God. And just as quick as that happened, I could smell the burnt remains of that house. And I mean, it was strong. But you know that clean smell, that ozone smell from when it rains, how fresh and wonderful it is? Equally as strong, I could smell that. And instantly I was just filled with the Spirit. And I was like, that's our own sin nature. And this is like God, He washes us. Just pure and clean. And it was such a striking and not such a wonderful blessing. So
you don't want to not pick that, right? So like, not that I would pick some of those valleys, but that's where you're like, that is that when we talk about forging, the steel wouldn't pick the furnace, like the forge, the heat, and the pounding. But the impurity's got to go away, right? So it's like
truth.
That I said, what you're left with is a battle-ready blade, but the steel wouldn't have picked it on its own, right? So like that impurity's getting banged away to make you stronger for the battles to come. You can't skip those. It's just a price of admission. So I thought it was like, and I've heard people say, that's Satan, that's Satan. I'm like, sometimes it's justice for decisions I've made.
That's
Other
right.
times it's like,
That's
you're
right.
welcome, because I'm doing something in you.
That is
Something's
right.
coming, and I need somebody. And
Well,
you're
you
the
know
guy
what?
or gal.
Even if it was a decision that you made a poor decision, try and fall forward if you can, first of all, instead of backwards.
Yeah.
But you have to get yourself up, and you have to keep on plugging one foot in front of the other. And God honors that, and God blesses that.
Yeah.
And He will help you move along. He's not that God with this fist on you, holding you down by your neck and beating on you because you made a mistake. He doesn't do that. He loves us. He cares for us. He carries us through tough times. And one thing I want to share about your steel analogy, when I was an over-the-road truck driver when I was 21, I went to a steel, you're going to find this fascinating maybe. I went to a steel factory. They were making steel. I got to go on the floor. I got to see everything. And you were talking about tempered steel, how it gets hardened, right? Yeah. It doesn't just come that way. It happens, right? And so what they do is they take this steel to harden it. They dip it in oil, right? And that's how you harden steel. That's how it happens. Well, here's what most people don't know. When that knife or that steel or that blade or that strip or whatever it is goes into that oil, the steel screams. It sounds exactly like a woman screaming at the top of her lungs. And that's kind of how it is with us. We're getting forged, we're getting hardened, we're getting strengthened, we're getting built to be the best, and it can be painful. And sometimes we do have to scream, or we have to suffer, or grieve, or whatever. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you.
I want to throw something out, because I know you're a horse person. I just checked out your tack room.
Oh, yeah,
I've known you for a long time. I know you've won a trailer. That's no small thing, right?
Right, thank you.
So I remember going to a gentle horse breaking. I was a guide. I was here in Colorado. I got certified to be an outdoor adventure guide. Phenomenal school called COAGS, Colorado Outdoor Adventure Guide School. One year I came for 2 weeks, spent the whole 2 weeks, came back for the advanced program, 2 more weeks. They were introducing gentle horse breaking. And they were talking about, like, you don't want to break the spirit.
That's right.
You want to form up a deal. It's like that horse, in the mountains, horses will save your life. Like, you don't want a broken horse in the worst blizzard you've ever been in when he knows the way home and you don't.
That's right.
You want the spirit left intact.
That's exactly right.
You want to come to an understanding, right? That, hey, I'm going to steer and you're going to let me. We're going to work together. This will work out for you when we get back in the form of food and care and all that stuff. But that relationship, I've heard that said of young men and women, like, don't break the spirit. That job may save your life. You may need that spirit intact.
Yeah, the goal is to become a team.
Yeah.
And that's not unlike what we might do with God. We become a team, right?
Yeah.
Where he functions through us as much as we allow him to. And it's the horse allows us to function through him. But if you go whooping and spurring on that horse all the time, you know, how much would you run to God if he was doing that to you? You wouldn't.
Right. Go the other
So,
way. Yeah.
yeah, it's about relationships. Everything
Amen.
comes
Amen.
down to relationships.
Yes.
Everything. And it doesn't matter if it's a horse or one of my dogs, or it doesn't matter, or it's you or a homeless person on the street.
Yep.
It's relationships.
That's it. If money's all you want, it may be all you get. I try to teach my kids that, right? It's like, would you rather have relationships, solid relationships, like good people relationships? Would you rather have, healthy children? Do you have all that stuff? A lot of people with a lot of money, and they are just as empty and shallow as you can get. And I'm like, well, maybe it's a blessing to not have big bags of money, because I don't, right? But I'm content with what I've got. I can't believe I get to be a dad. I can't believe it. Like, it blows me away that I get to hang out with Rebecca, Sarah, Christian, and Eden. I can't believe it. They're just so amazing. I'm like, oh, this is such a blessing.
I know. I came from a Fortune 100 home. I was raised very wealthy. And it's a sad, the community, the people are a lot more gracious than people think they are. They really are giving because they have so much. But when they give, I'm not sure, and this is evaluation, not a judgment. I think that they just give because they can, not necessarily because, and a lot of times maybe they're not moved by the Spirit, because with God you give of your time, your talent, or the treasure as the Holy Spirit might move you, right? And I just saw a lot of people giving a lot of stuff to their hired help and different things like that. And it seemed to come from a place, they were kind people. There was nothing wrong, but it just, what I observed was it seemed to be coming more from a place of, I kind of don't want this anymore, and you're doing me a favor, but it's a blessing to you too, so kind of one of those things, you know?
Yeah. And, as money, it all belongs to God.
Everything.
Right? So you should steward it appropriately.
Correct.
And I think some people are amazing. It's not money, it's that love of money, right? So it's like
That's right.
having that person that, and I'm not saying I'm anti-money, right? So like, obviously I'm running a business and I hope it goes. So I can do more of it. I can do more good. But I think, it was Dave Ramsey saying, see this brick? He's like, money's like this brick. I can throw it through that window or I can build a hospital. Brick doesn't care. Like,
That's
money
right.
doesn't care.
Ooh, that's good.
So it's like it's a capability.
That's really
Money's a
good.
capability, but time is like money, just more valuable.
That's truth.
So your time is like how much do you have? We have the same answer. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I could die coming off this mountain today, right?
It's truth for all of us. Yeah, none of us are guaranteed it tomorrow or even the next 5 minutes, right? I think my observation around the money thing was that I didn't see a lot of Christianity. And I think the reason why, and this is just me taking a stab at it, no judgment, I'm guessing at this from being around it so much throughout my youth. I think they didn't need God because they could have anything they wanted. Yeah. These are very wealthy people, and they just didn't need him. And so taking that whole concept, circling back around to what you talked about, that yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it's the adversity. They don't necessarily face adversity the way that you and I would, or see it from that sense. I mean, they might have trouble in their marriage or other things like that, but they tended to, and my family included, they bought away their problems.
Yeah.
They'd travel to get away from the problem, or buy another house somewhere to get away from the problem.
Yeah.
Well, we've got this ranch, let's get another one, type of a thing. Instead of just confronting the problem, sitting down, getting honest inside, opening those secret little rooms to God, and there was no desire for it.
Yeah. Is there a peace? Is there a freedom? Or is
Definitely.
it just things like the horror of losing your money? Like, what if I lost? I remember saying this to Rachel, and it was brilliant. When she said it, it just kind of rocked me. Said, I'm going to step out yet again and do this thing. We need to talk about this because I'm going to take a big risk, right? And if this doesn't go, we're in a pickle. They're coming for the house, kind of thing, And then we lose
Jimmy,
everything.
you could always come here.
Well, thank you. And she says, I said, we could lose everything and have nothing. She goes, we've been there before.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
God.
Wow. I was not expecting that answer, right? Because it bothers her a little bit more than it does for me. So I'm just like, go for it, whatever. And that was a powerful answer. So, amen. So DMI and everything there, can you tell us like what that is? Because we had such a good time. We filmed movies there, now TV shows, Outdoor Channel. Remember they contacted me, and then I
so
said,
great.
I got a place. They're like, what? And we can do like an active shooter school shooting in this facility with this and this and this. And like, we got to see this. So we ran 3 episodes, I think, out of
Yes.
there.
It was going to be 1. They ended up with 3. They got so much footage.
Multiple times we came in with you, where at times when they were shooting up the place and tearing it up, you wouldn't even let cops in there, but you let us in.
I know.
It's
truth.
What was it? How did it start? What are some of the things we've done there?
So the DMI, I got my start there. I was a firefighter paramedic, and the college called me. It was a community college of Aurora. They called me up, asked if I'd come help teach paramedics, and I'm like, a fireman works 10 or 11 days a month. Yeah, I'll come. So, and it was good money, right? So I went, and before I knew it, that there were 3 of us there, and we'd sit around, we'd talk about simulation, reality-based training. So nurses have had it, docs have met it, but their patients are always in the same bed all the time.
Yeah.
It's not dynamic, right?
Yeah.
And so we were able to get some funding, and we were able to build an entire house inside a building. And we got a little more funding. It was kind of one of those, if you build it, they will come sort of a stories, literally. And so we built the second one, which was an indoor street scene, which you've been in and seen. And after that, the 2 other guys left, and this whole thing needed its own person. So I became the Center for Simulation Disaster Management Institute. So we wrote a letter to a congressman. We got funded the first year. It was going to be a critical incident command theater, but it ended up becoming the Disaster Management Institute. And the whole design behind it was to help train and prepare incident commanders for all these disasters and things that we're seeing on that aspect. But yet, we had the street, and we had the house, and then we built a bar. So we had the 3 inside. And then I went to the state after Katrina happened. I went to the state, asked them if I could have a vacant building. The Katrina survivors, there were 800 in that building for 10 months. And when they left, there was a building just sitting there.
How many square footage? Just like a 3-story
Holy
Air
cow.
Force barracks, yeah?
Yeah, about
2, joined with a restaurant, like the
cafeteria
in the middle. Yeah.
Yep, cafeteria, full kitchen, commercial kitchen, everything in there worked.
We have active shooter in restaurant scenarios that we still have in our archives that we're
Do you?
Oh yeah. We should, maybe we'll put them in this video.
Oh, that'd be
and
great.
Like the Save a Cop. I don't know how many of those I worked with you, but I ran tactics.
You were at least there 4 times,
The
weren't
news
you?
were there. I don't know. I forget how many officers. There was security for the officers with the Colorado, Rangers or something like that.
Yeah, they did the
They did
security, the outside security, and all
Download
that.
everybody come in. We did the tactics stuff. There was the news. There was the Anschutz family. There was like that for many years.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And that came from, so after those guys left, we got the DMI built and everything. I was able to go to the state and get that building.
Yeah.
And the deal was pretty much don't cost us anything, and we're good. So then I had that building. Square footage, you said, I have no idea.
Big.
About 600 rooms.
Yeah, big.
Big, 3-story building. It was old Air Force dorms is what it was, with the bathroom connecting between rooms. And then, like you said, the full commercial cafeteria had a
Which is
loading
very
dock.
unique for clearances, because now you get that Jack and Jill bathroom that's like
right.
connecting to 2 rooms, and you're like, it catches people because now you're coming back on your team.
That's right.
In the main hallway, blue, clear, flashlight, all that stuff. So we did start down the street, drive into the courtyard for protective officer kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where they had to come up flights of stairs, then deconflict, take out the bad guys, rescue the hostage, and then all the way back down.
That was
And
great.
then leave again in the car. So
Well-
awesome.
Well, there were some firemen that jumped in sometime. Rich Solomon from Save Altair, he was their chief, and he'd jump in with the flashing lights and everything while you guys would make entry, and you'd go through the back cafeteria, the loading dock, and all that. So you were making entry sometimes in multiple points, right? And each one offered a different experience. And then we also had something in there. I don't think that you guys ever trained in there, which I wish you would have, but we had something called Tornado Alley.
That was awesome. We never trained in it, but
I would have loved it if you would have.
Explain what that is, because it was impressive.
So Tornado Alley was 1 lane. How long would you say a lane was in that building?
Oh, it depends on which lane. But like
Well,
some
one of
them
the long hallways.
Those are probably like 75 yards, 100 yards.
Okay, so there you go, 7,500 yards long. And it was full of junk about, chest high on Jimmy. just
like an entire,
like a tornado went
there's people probably under debris.
That's right.
You're
And there were
climbing over. You're
That's
getting
right.
sideways, but you're trying to bring somebody out in a
Yep,
litter.
that's right.
Yeah.
And the military trained there a lot
Like
too.
blinking lights,
Lots
electric,
of
if I remember
military.
right. There was
Yeah.
smoke in there. Like,
Yeah, and I think we did some of that with you
Nightmare. She
guys
called it
too.
nightmare alley,
We had
yeah.
Hollywood grade smoke machine.
Yes.
We had emergency lights off of fire trucks and cop cars that were actually mounted on racks with wheels, and we could just plug them in the wall, and we had the full control panels, so we could put them anywhere in the building we wanted for casting shadows.
What was your biggest? Because I remember there were like hundreds of military. There was like EMS. There was like concrete moved and cars flipped over out in the yard. There was like big stuff going on.
That was Mountain Guardian.
Okay.
So Mountain Guardian, like I said, there was on the record, there was 107 agencies across the Front Range that played in one exercise. And when we did we did all the building block steps. We did tabletops and we did seminars on webinar. We did all kinds of stuff. And then we did the drills out at my place. But there's 17 SWAT teams across the Front Range in Denver. All 17 played. Every bomb squad at that time, there were 6. They all played. So every hazmat team played. So just specialty teams alone, when we did the drills, we had to limit it to 5 guys, and we were just overrun with people. And it was just such a phenomenal learning experience. You should have seen the cops' face when the hazmat guys are taking their guns and putting them in the bucket. You're gonna lose this hazmat now.
And you can't touch us again. Bye.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly. Just eye-opening.
Yeah.
The communication between
Yeah.
those specialty teams was just phenomenal. And then on top of that, we had hundreds and hundreds of firemen and regular cops. The kayak played, which is Colorado Information Analysis Center, our highest level of intelligence. We had hospitals playing, ambulance coming. Everybody came to the party. It was phenomenal. We blew up a car at my place. The picture's out there. I just showed it when you were out there. Yeah, we had a car upside down, and we were, of course, putting smoke bombs in there and everything. And the scenario was that it was based on the Mumbai-style attacks.
Yep.
Multiple locations hit simultaneously, right? And so we kicked them off 20 minutes apart just to overrun the Front Range resources, right? And then after we got done with this exercise, it was like 3 months later, it happened in France. So we were like ahead of our time.
Yeah.
And but at my facility, it was basically, it started off that there was a touch football game going off in the big field out there, right? And then a VBID, or a vehicle-borne IED, drove into the middle of that football game and blew up. And so it was on its top, it was burned, and then we had smoke bombs in it going off too, right? And so then people are running away from that. Well, a second car with insurgents pulled in behind that VBID, and they had rifles, and they started strafing the crowd as they're running away. So now we've increased our footprint, and we've added another threat, right? Or multiple threats. They also had backpacks with them. And they got these backpacks, because what do students have? They have backpacks, and they added backpacks to the mix too, right? What's in those? Not my monkey, not my circus, have fun. Then, right? You know what I mean, right? Well, then we had Katrina too, this big building we were talking about, and we had about close to 300 people, I think, inside the Katrina building. And these guys have been living in there. They'd taken over certain rooms, so tons of intel in there, if the cops could sort through and find it. But there's lots of hostages in there. And we had one hostage when the cops came up the stairs on the second floor, and they went to make that turn and go down the long hallway. We had a gal sitting there with a toolbox bomb on her lap, and she was tripwired.
Oh, that's
so even that, that's that picture. So even the muzzle of their guns were this close to the tripwire. So if that tripwire is a little closer and they got in there, boom, they're all gone, right? But the problem was that once they could see around that corner, now they've got her with a device. They don't want her shaking. They want her blowing up and blowing them up. But all the way at that 100-yard hall, 75-yard hall, there were hostages with pillowcases over their head, and they're getting screamed at in foreign languages, and there's guns being brazed around and everything. So they can see this, but they can't get there because of this.
Yeah.
And then, and so they had to solve that problem as well and render all those threats useless.
I think people take for granted, I've seen some of your planning stages and all that stuff, how much goes into that. Like even the safety alone. Like I've got a scar from like a full thickness burn, 3rd-degree burn on my shoulder from when I was with the agency, and we were doing, it was an alley, came into a checkpoint. I'm all kind of hodged up, and I come over there and do the whole, check their IDs, whatever, go whisper to another guy, and then I just dump, first I shoot the car with an AK-47 blanks, and they're supposed to not break seal on that car, right? The other car is supposed to come up and get the package out while they set a perimeter and get them out of there. So they're not supposed to break seal unless they're getting set on fire. So I have tea. I have a jug of tea. I dump it into a cup and I go like this and throw it on the car. And then I take another jug of tea with a rag hanging out like I'm going to light it. And you see their eyes go,
awesome.
whoa! They open their eyes, then they go, ready, stand by, 3, 2, 1. They break seal, come out, shoot me, fall over. I already shot the car up, so they can't see me anymore because I'm under the hood. I pop out a smoke grenade, throw it under the car, but now there's serious white smoke, right? So now they have to figure all this out while this is going on. Well, we do that a couple of times, and one of my buddies got a little overzealous. He's like, I want to throw smoke, but he didn't tell me. I'm running it. Everything's got to be exact, right? So I fall down, shoot. They come out, pop, pop, pop. I fall, and I hear him go like, Jimmy, look out! And right then, when those smokes go, you hear like a blowtorch.
Yeah.
Because it comes out thousands
right.
of degrees before the smoke even starts, right? But I landed on it. So thankfully, I had a shemagh on my neck. I had a sim mask on. I had all this, I had several layers, but they're all synthetic. Lesson learned, right? If I'd have had, the work kind of Carhartt type jacket on, it probably wouldn't have been near as bad, but it instantly fused 3 layers of synthetic onto my shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Right? So it's just like
that stuff's a death trap.
That
in
stuff is
fire.
With every one of those scenarios, you must do it correctly.
That's exactly
if
right.
If the timing's off, if the position's off, it can be bad. But it is safe to do when you do it correctly, and it's just invaluable. Like, let's not talk about it, let's go do it. And now you go do it. And you're
hyper
like,
realistic too. Like what you're talking about. It has to be realistic.
Yeah.
The devil's in the details, and you were doing it right. You have to see to those details.
Yep.
You want to engage every sense with the exception of taste. Or sometimes that even kind of comes into play too if you have the right smells.
Yep.
Right? But that's how people learn. That's good training.
Yeah.
You can't put a price on that kind of training.
And that you and I are like that reality-based training scenarios is where it's at, period.
That's exactly
Because if you're doing that over and over, like we've done extensively throughout our training, even today we were watching, there's a shooting today.
That's
and,
right.
There's an active shooter threat. I saw the latest was 2 killed, 17 injured. That's a big one. Like they're getting after it.
Yeah.
And all of them matter. Like if you're that family, you bet it. Well, it wasn't as significant. I'm like, everyone's significant, right?
That's right.
But if you've been through that, at least mentally, and walked through that many, many times, you are going to be head and shoulders above somebody who's never done it. So if somebody hasn't trained since police academy, you got somebody who does scenario-based stuff, they'll have a gun in their hand, doing it right, running down the hall while they're thinking this other person's saying
exactly right.
somebody should do something. Oh, that's right, it's probably me. I do have a badge and a gun. You haven't even been here in 20 years. And we see it left and right.
Interesting thing about that. So this is such a good subject about training, because my observation was that when I first stood everything up and the military, we had the Iraq War starting, so I was getting 68 whiskeys coming through and stuff like that as well, because we could do the hyper realistic with them. They didn't have enough facilities. And when it came to the first responders, because they're 2 different buckets completely, when it came to the first responders, they weren't excited about training. And here's why. Because 1, they got set up for failure, and 2, they never got engaged properly.
Yeah.
It was an exercise in either boredom or frustration or something like that, right? And so they didn't really want to participate in these trainings. And once you engage them on a different level where it is so realistic like that, and where you can see to all those details. I used to tell the generals this when they'd come out and watch different things, or different special forces, just anybody that might be around, even Christian Andrews or something like that. I would always tell them, devil's in the details, and it's the charge of the mosquito. So you can be good if you train. You can be really good. Like, here comes this elephant, and, oh, look at the elephant, here it comes. That's the problem. I'm going to get behind the tree, right? And so you step behind the tree, and the elephant doesn't get you. But guess what? The devil's in the details. What about the charge of the mosquito? You're out there, you're in this hot, soupy, swampy area, and there's mosquitoes everywhere, and great, the elephant doesn't see you now until the mosquitoes come, and you start doing this. Now you gave away your location. Those are the kind of details. If you can train to those itty-bitty details, even though they're not big and sexy and bombs aren't going off and gunfire everywhere, but if you can see to those minute little details, you will be excellent. Yeah. And that's why you are who you are, because you see to those details instead of just, let's just go shoot some around.
And which details, right? The beneficial details.
That's exactly right.
You've seen training, and so have I, where they spent all this money, did all this stuff, and not one person's any better. You're like, what did you just do? Like, you just basically held their hand through a thing, checked off the box, saying you did training. And if this happened tomorrow, Uvalde, They both just checked off. Faculty and cops just got checked off on active shooter training. And you saw the result. It's like absolute 77 minutes of listening to kids die. No, not happening. So it's like, what did you do when, I see you said training. Let's talk about that. Well, we talked about it. We said this. We'll go and do that. No. Did you do it? Did you do it correctly? And could you do it? So if you didn't leave more capable, I'm not sure what you wasted your time on, right? So everybody leaves better every single time, including the staff. Like if everybody's not getting better, I'm not sure why they're investing time and money in it. And that becomes the trainers that are like, let's stump the chump. Let's point out that you suck, that I'm awesome, that you suck. Yeah. And now I was serving me.
That's bad.
The whole time I was serving me, but
feeding your ego.
Yes. And I'm so sick of that. I'm allergic to it. I don't allow it. I'm like, get out of here. If you're gonna do that, get out of my building. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's so good.
And the awareness, like with that devil in the detail thing, it could be as simple as a door. I used to tell people, so we have like the front door in the house. So let's say you're a new EMT basic student or something, and you're just going to class, you've finished everything, you've taken your written test, you've done your final practical exam, now you can go save lives according to the law, right? But come to reality-based training, and I give you a call and I say, respond to 911 Innovation Avenue on difficulty breathing. They show up at the door, they knock on the door, nobody answers. So here's a question, what do you want to do with the door? And they stand there and they're thinking, and well, should we go in? I don't know. What do you want to do? You want to go in? And one of them says, let's look in the window. Okay, they looked in the window. You don't see anything. What do you see? Nothing. Okay, now what do you want to do with the door? And you could just keep carrying this on and on and on about what are you going to do with this door? Yeah. Now let's think about the facts. These guys are stuck. They've gotten all their final testing done, Jimmy. They are done. They finalized their practical exam. They can do oxygen masks and start a line and all this stuff. But they don't even know what to do with a slab of wood. Yeah. That's the benefit of what you do. What I do, it's that reality-based training piece.
2 words, show me. We can talk all day long, or you can just show me, right? So this just happened last week and the week before, because we've been training a bunch of cops, right, lately. As they come in like, get on the ground. There's like some kind of situation where they got to respond to an active shooter. You're just the person out in the courtyard. You see the cop pull up and they go, get on the ground. You're like, I ain't getting on the ground. And they're like, oh. And they freeze and argue with you for 5 minutes.
What do we do?
Like, bro, there's a shooting going on. Kids are dying, and you're arguing with the knucklehead in the yard. Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's right.
I said get on the ground. I'm a police. You're like, guys, remember the kids are like, oh, yeah. But they're like, he's supposed to listen. Well, what if he doesn't? It's like, I don't know. I'd get back to the objective,
it's those
right?
details.
It's like, do you shoot him, yes or no? Do you hit him, yes or no? Then you got a good job to do. Go.
You have to train to those details. And as you get more experience, you have to elevate your game as an educator or as a trainer. You have to elevate that game even more to give them just the absolute best. They deserve the best experience. And not just them, but the public that they're going to serve. That's who really deserves that best experience.
That's what Uvalde, Texas thought they were paying for. Like they just said they got recertified. You look at the stuff, it's the best stuff money can buy. There's something missing though, capability. So you got the things, but you have the capability.
That's right.
Well, did somebody train, and not just train, because training can be anything. Like what you train, like I just said, what's the capability? Could you do this, yes or no? Well, nobody really asked. Or you asked and they said yes. Who'd you ask? The guys being tested? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
That's exactly
if there's
right.
An assessment and you failed, then you're going back to training.
That's exactly
And actually, why are we paying for this training, right? So now it's all of a sudden you assess it, and there's somebody who knows what they're talking about. So this is what I would say is pretty good. And they come up here or here. Okay, that was probably worth our time and money.
I think one of the biggest problems with training too is you can boil it really, in my opinion, down to one word, and that's ego.
Yeah.
And that's why maybe some of the cops and some of the firemen, or it doesn't matter who you are, if you're a responder of any kind, even in the military, it's true. But if there's an ego in the way, it halts everything. And check that ego at the door, because we're going to push you through.
On either side.
That's exactly right. On either side, that's true too.
That is true. When I started training citizens, we'd call them civilians, right? They're so grateful, which makes it so awesome. Like I love teaching. Right?
The military's grateful too.
Some.
All of them I've worked with, I love them.
Because you work
They're
with them, right?
a joy.
If you get a cool guy in here, and like, so I was GRS.
Oh, they're going to push back against you.
because they know it all.
Because
like,
you're Jimmy.
I know. And then in the GRS world was such a blessing, right? So in GRS, you took the best of the best. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody who was specialized would come into this melting pot of do it this way. Small unit tactics. You don't have your SEAL team with you. It's you and you, or it's you by yourself. Learn this way or go home. And they had to. So they went kicking and screaming. But man, it was just, as an instructor, like some days it's like, this sucks. Because they're so
I can see
cocky.
that.
They know it all. And I'm like, well, you're about to fail, so you might want to listen. And then towards the end, they're like, they start listening, you know. But it's just, you had to fight them to make them better all the way to the end. Then
I could see that with you.
But now you teach a single mother to protect her daughter. She lives 10 foot tall. She's had a pistol forever that was a hobby and it was kind of scary, and now it's a capability, saying to get to her you got to go through me. It'll be hard because now I know how to use this pistol. And she's beaming, right? And she wants to come back for years, you know. Like it's so much better. Protect my kids, my grandkids, all this stuff, and you're like, all of a sudden it's appreciated, and now you can't wait to go to work.
I think that was like such a specific niche, because I'm thinking back on my times with the military, whether it's Special Forces or 68 Whiskeys or SURF or CST, it doesn't matter what it is, but I think about all these different types of teams I've worked with, and foreign teams as well, and there was so much humility there, and it really didn't matter to me. They didn't push back against me, probably because I wasn't them. I wasn't one of them, but I was the person that was technically forcing them to learn without them understanding it, because I was sending them into situations. And
they were humble, right?
They were very
the people
humble.
that I saw
they were
that you
a delight.
training, this was such a treat because they've never done this before, right? You know, so I think it's where you change with special operators coming into something that they already claim to be, like, legend has it, you're the experts in this. And now you come in to learn, like, what are you going to teach me? I'm the expert. And they realize quickly, like, not the expert. Somebody does know a different thing, right? And I'm willing to learn it, or it's like you're not. And if you're not willing to learn, you're dangerous. Get out of here.
There were some elite teams that came through my facility, and they just weren't expecting some of what happened. Because I think with them too, here's another problem in training, is when you have your own people training you, right? So you know how this works in Special Forces. The guys that really never make it into theater or whatever, they end up being the guys that get shot at, or they're the Op 4 or whatever for the team, right? But they already know everybody's tactics and stuff. So I was bringing in some wily dirties that they weren't, you know. And
well, there's ego too of, like, when you're with GRS or something like that. Well, we're deploying and you're teaching. So the whole, how's the saying go? You know, he who can does, he who can't teaches. I'm like, brother, I do both. Like, I'll see you over there. Like, I deploy with you. Like, so that person's
so
invaluable.
funny.
So not only can I do the job, I can train people to do the job. I can also train more people to train people to do the job.
Don't you think you're the exception to the rule, though? Not a lot of people can do that, Jimmy.
No, but there's teams out there. Like, some of the best
set.
teams I was ever on were those guys, you know, right? Specifically one that I'm thinking under Mike V that I think you might have met. Anyways, he was very good at that. He wasn't a specialized, like, spec ops guy. He was an Army intel guy, but he was the boss. And he was in charge of guys that had more skills than him. But he didn't let that phase him. It's like, this is the way it'll be, period. Like, this is like, I've heard guys like that are big, formidable killers, right? Drop an F-bomb, and he's like, that's not necessary here. And it's like, oh, he didn't ask. You know, and I was like, I dig that. Like,
I do too.
There's a level of excellence, and I'm going to demand you get there. Go
That's
home.
exactly
and
right.
People show up.
That's right.
They dig deep and they go, you know what? I can do both. I can be decent and dangerous.
You know, and I think that in the long run, even though they might push against it in the beginning, is more and more of those team members buy into what you're doing, and they start, like, immersing themselves in that learning experience, more and more buy-in. And then the guy that kind of comes with that attitude, he's kind of that dirty bird in the bunch, you know? And he will bring it then. They will really step up and clean up their game. And they'll get better, and then they appreciate it. And they want to train more.
If they have the courage to let that, to move that veil for a second, I mean, just as recent, what I appreciate about my job, usually the loudest tough guy has many times ended in tears. Now, that ain't going to happen in class. It's only me and them. And now it's like people have gone home, or they're on the way out the door. Hey, can I talk to you a second? I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Start talking, and all of a sudden, here comes.
That's a beautiful
Here comes
thing.
the truth. Here comes the truth. Now we're talking about Jesus. We're talking about grandkids. We're talking about, like, man, I've been hiding for a long time. It's like, well, why don't you knock it off?
That's such
why don't
a beautiful
we invite
thing.
you into something true that's actually eternal, like that's actually part of the solution? And they're like, I've been looking for that my whole life. I'm like, well, you just found it. So let's talk about that, you know? And that's good.
And so that's another unique thing about you and what you do. So you've got the spiritual component. You're a very capable, engaging trainer. You understand hyper-realistic training. You've been there, you've done it. You know, you've checked all the different boxes and stuff. And so some might want to push back initially because of the ego thing or whatever. They're going to test your mettle or whatever. But that makes a statement about them, not you.
Exactly.
And it's very easy, if you're a good trainer like you are, or educator like you are, it's very easy to bring those people to the right place.
Yeah.
And get them going down the right track. And that right there might be the single most valuable training thing you can give to anyone.
Absolutely.
Is that ability to humble yourself enough to learn, listen, engage, even if you only pick up one pearl. I mean, think about your spiritual life. How much you have to drink of that every single day. Sometimes it's one verse.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's one encounter with
Yeah.
another human being. It could be a very small thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the whole Bible in a day.
Right. And I think people think they've had it force fed. When I get out of this chair today, when you and I go to lunch,
Yeah.
I'll be a better man. Like, it's like, that's the deal.
I'm always better when I'm around you and your family.
No, it's just, that's
I just
the,
win.
Like, what if it was always like that? You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know,
what if every
I know, right?
men's group, everything, it's like, let's talk about real things make me better, because I'm going back into the arena the second I walk out this door. Like that, I just talked about
exactly
this yesterday.
right.
The church,
That's right.
Going to church isn't, and they call it a service. It ain't my service. It's not where I serve. It's where I top off to go serve. So, you know, Sunday afternoon when I walk out of that church, my service begins all the way till I come back top off again.
That's exactly right.
So that's exactly the thing where it's like my pastor's not going to be like, tell him, Jimmy, yeah. Like, no, he's all fighting his battles, but we've prepared Jimmy Graham and each other to go serve, right? So that's
the way it should be.
Yeah, and that becomes addictive, and it's dangerous, and it's exciting, and it's adventure. It's all of those things. It's hard for me to sit still.
And above all, it's the greatest blessing.
It's glorifying to God.
It's the greatest blessing. Because if you stop and you think about it, doesn't matter if you're training or if you're talking about the Lord or whatever it is, you're serving Him.
Yeah.
As long as your mind is right.
Yeah.
Once you lose track of this, and I think that carries over in training too, I don't think it's just a spiritual thing, but if you can avoid the mental attitude sins, whether it's in training or in your spiritual walk, like you're thinking something, but you're not saying that something.
Yeah.
Those mental attitude sins, it
Yeah.
really kind of, it's like the tongue, that small rudder that controls the whole ship.
Yeah.
It's kind of that, only it's in your mind.
Yeah.
And that's another gift where that spiritual piece, whether somebody's a Christian or not, doesn't even almost matter as long as you are and you're towing that line and you're providing the best and you're living that Christian life right there in front of them. You're imparting truth to them with everything that you do.
It's so good.
It
Model
is so
model it.
good.
Like, you
That's
built
exactly
credibility
right.
with me,
That's
and we became
right.
fast friends because you modeled. When we talked about an exercise, I knew it was going to happen. Like, you're just, hey, what if? I'm like, this is going to happen. Like, it's like, I know she can do it. She's done it. You're like, I know he can do it. He's done it. And then we did it. You know,
So
I don't know how
much
many
fun.
times. It was
And
like so
fun.
hypothetical. Like,
And
this is gonna,
fun.
yeah. People leave like high five and hug.
Oh, man.
So good, right?
You're talking about the Save a Cop, right?
Save a Cop, or the guy. And every time I brought the Able Shepherds out there,
Yeah,
we launched
yeah.
vehicles, we did the thing, we did all that stuff, and it was just like, you're like, Jimmy, okay, you got it. Here's the keys. Don't you know whatever?
So
And
fun.
you obviously had confidence that I wasn't gonna destroy the place or get somebody's eye shot out, right? Because you're over there checking out guns.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's like-
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. And then we did, and we took that seriously. And, you know, like, I know that you'd said sometimes people were coming up and shooting up the upholstery just because with Sim and destroying it.
They were too.
Yeah, and that's just not cool.
And
Like, just treat it like it's your
That
place,
was on
right?
the civilian side, and there was a stop put to that because if you can't respect the place you're training,
Yeah.
I mean, it all kind of comes back to respect too.
Yeah.
And that's a very important word.
Yeah.
Very important. Whether it carries in our Christian lives, it carries in our work lives, carries in our training, everything. But respect, if you don't have enough respect, you're way off the mark.
Yeah.
Just because you can tear somebody's stuff up doesn't mean you should.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
right. That's right.
And
Leaving
it's-
stuff better than you found it, right? Being part of the solution.
always
not the
leave
problem.
stuff better than you
Somebody,
found it.
And I tell my kids that, you know, like, whose Snickers bar is that? And I'm like, doesn't matter. You know whose it isn't. It ain't yours.
That's right.
Don't touch it. They're like, oh,
That's
whatever. It's
exactly
like,
right.
Oh no, it's like
That's exactly
it's like
right.
That thing of just like, I'm gonna, you know, even taking it's one of my pet peeves, putting the shopping cart back in the little thing.
I do it all the time.
Right? It's like putting it back there. Why? It's like, well, there's somebody for that. And it's like,
And
yeah,
it's a
but why should
courtesy,
they have
too.
to? It's a courtesy. Well, it's a courtesy that they even gave you a shopping cart, so you have to carry your stuff. So I'm going to borrow the cart that obviously you own, put it back, make it easier on the minimum wage teenager that's in the rain so they can collect them all at once and not chase the one out. And
you know what I do sometimes? I look for people going in and I'm like, do you want this cart? I test drove it because you know how you get those clunkers? If I got a really good one, I'm like, it's not a clunker. It's had a test drive. Exactly. It's not going to clunk, clunk, clunk through the whole store. I got one, test driven. Do you want it?
That's awesome.
Yeah, because
you pre-validated it.
Like, exactly. And then you got to share that good thing with someone else, right? It's in those little things, right?
Yeah.
Share it.
It's beautiful. Let's shift gears and finish on this because we've already been going. If you believe, you're like, I'm not a public speaker, Jimmy. I'm not. Talk to me. We're on 40-something minutes right now.
Seriously.
What's the solution? So we've got a lot of problems right now, and like everything from obviously Jesus, obviously this thing, but maybe not so obvious for people. But what do we do? Like we're in a mess right now. What I hate hearing people say is like, well, we're too far gone, nothing you can do. And I'll say, what I hear is my kids aren't worth fighting for. Like,
and that you gave up.
I'm like, yeah, you just said you gave up on my children. No, Jimmy, I didn't say. It's exactly what you said. So say true words. So what do you think is the thing right now that if somebody hears just like, you know what, that's a pretty good start.
Regarding? Give me context.
Anything. You see that? I mean, you see the news more than I do because you fill me in on stuff. So it's like there's a mess. I mean, even this school shooting, because I see it's part of the same problem. I don't see individual problems.
And I don't see the news.
One big problem. Well, there's that.
So I think the news is a problem.
Oh yeah.
So I don't see the news.
Are you talking about legacy media news?
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm very well sourced as well, right? So
intelligence, true intelligence.
Truth, lots of truth.
Yeah.
Lots of good truth.
Yep.
And so, but I think the solution starts with a relationship with God, because from that is going to stem family, which God endorses, and truth is going to come from that, honor, integrity. It has a way of transforming. I think that's where the solution is for a nation, for a people, for a person, for everything.
Yeah.
It's rooted and grounded in the Bible. And it's like an owner's manual to your life.
Yeah, amen.
You get one when you get a car. Well, this is your one for life. And there is not one thing on this earth that can happen to you that is not covered in that one book. Nothing.
That's right.
It's all in there. And if you stop and think about it, we've probably got, here's a tangent, we've probably got warehouses full, one copy each of self-help books. And then there's a Bible sitting over here. Yeah. Everything is right there.
Yeah.
Or you could go crawl around warehouses till you're dead and never get through it.
Right.
And here's truth right here, waiting for you.
Yeah. And you said this earlier.
Growing you.
Every time you open it up, like you said, the stuff I highlighted last year or whatever, you open it, you're like, oh, why'd I highlight that? Weird. But that one, whoa, the one above it right there. Now here comes your highlighter, right? That living word
It's
of God.
because we change and we grow and we're having new experiences and new struggles or trials or blessings or whatever. Or we've got somebody in our life we're searching to help, or, and we're praying about it. And, the book is it.
Yeah. I found myself in devotions, which I love. Blackaby experience.
Oh, I like your
I love it, right? I've been on it for years.
Yeah.
Lately, I've opened up my Bible back to the New Testament, just Matthew 1, and started again, and I've read Matthew, but I haven't read it at 51. So now I'm reading it as Jimmy Graham at 51, and new things are coming up, and God told me in a prayer, I just heard this from him, is that's these devotions, that's what I told Blackaby. That's what I told Spurgeon. This is what I'm going to tell you. Read my words. And then you read it, and you're just like you said, the person I met last week and talked about A, B, C, and D, now I flip at the page and I'm like, you just answered it.
It's exactly right.
It keeps going.
And you know what? I think also, just to build on that a little bit more, is we have to understand that that's happening with other people too.
Absolutely.
It's not just us. It's people in our periphery, whether they know the Lord Jesus Christ or not. These people are in our periphery and they're not the same person they were the day before, a month before, a year before. So you have to come at them a little bit differently and fresh every single day, because every day is new and there's trouble sufficient for that day. You don't need to add to or take away. You don't have to live out in the future. That's called borrowing trouble. You don't have to live in the past. That's also borrowing trouble. Stay right here in the now, because there's so much in that exact this moment. Even. I mean, look at how much there is. Good. So much. We've got a terrorist running around.
This cat named Terrorist. Much. That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, hide your legs. You'll find out why. Yeah, but I mean, it's true for everybody, not just us. We need to see other people like that too.
Amen.
What is it they need to hear today that might be different?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I see it as the same thing. It's like, it's no different when we just talked about training. Well, what do you mean by that? You know, it's like, well, I studied. Okay, well, what's the fruit of that? What's your capability now that you've been in the Word of God? How do you know it's you, not you? It's God telling you and not you telling you. Well, then read it a lot, and if it contradicts itself, well, then it ain't God.
Yeah,
because
that's
God
right.
doesn't contradict.
That's
right?
exactly
So to
right.
be able to walk out and say, I'm going to do this, this, and that. I tell people, you can make the Bible say whatever you want out of context.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and
That
that's
is true.
dangerous. It's
That is very
so
dangerous.
right?
Very dangerous. That's why I study the Bible through isagogics and categorically, words above, words below each verse, and then exegetically. So the original historical languages, the original historical setting, you know, because every verse was written in a different day and time. Important to keep. You and I could go scratching a piece of concrete. Holy cow! Somebody comes along 2,000 later and go, look, these people 2,000 years ago they worship cows.
Yeah.
No, we don't. Historical
Just-
context matters,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And then the people want. They're always talking about Lucifer too. I'm like, who's Lucifer? And they're like, well, that's a devil. And that's and I'm like, did you know that's not in the Bible? And that's actually Latin. And the Bible was written in Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic, and that. All there is in the Bible is Hasatan, Helio, son of the morning star, Diabolos. And all those words boil down to accuser. Lucifer is a name from the Latin given by the Catholics. And God never named him. He gave him a title, like lawyer's a title. The title he gets in the Bible is accuser, and then mankind comes along and they call him Lucifer. You named him, now you've given him significance, which now you can worship him. And that's just truth right out of the Bible. But how do you know that if you're not studying, if you're not crawling through the Word, if you're not driven to seek the truth? Because it even talks about that in Revelation, you know?
Yeah.
Add to or take away my word.
And I'm really drawn to like spiritual leaders, pastors, whoever that, you know, a friend, you know, I'd say talk to an older person that loves you. Like I've got many mentors, Neil Pinkham, we were just talking about him, you know,
I
Paul
love
Joe
Neil.
Catt,
Yeah.
Dan, I got all these people that pour into me because they love me enough to tell me the truth, right? Not I Googled it, not YouTube. I'm actually talking to people about this and then say, this is the Word of God. How does it apply to my problem today? And it always does.
It does.
Right? It's not like, well, it was written exactly like, hey, this whatever. It's like, hey, this is what I'm leaning on today. Somehow you blink and you're through it and you're like, that wasn't a big deal, like at all, because I had the manual. I had the map. I had the roadmap.
Well,
right?
and more than that, Jimmy, too, you've actually been, like, you've got metabolized doctrine. So, like, if you look at it like a paramedic or something, you're taking in this word, and then it's metabolized. It's circulating in your stream of conscience. You didn't just read it and say, oh, yeah, that's nice. That's, you know, a nice verse that is. I'll hang it on the wall and never look at it again or whatever. You metabolized it. It is circling in your stream of conscious. So when that adversity comes, boom, it's on the flat line of your soul, the flat line of your soul,
Yeah.
that forward line of troops.
Yeah.
It's on that flat line of your soul where it can just go off the launching pad and you're responding with God and His love and His word instead of your human viewpoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And,
sorry, Jimmy, nobody cares about your human viewpoint.
know, it's like,
we
oh,
want
you
the word
do.
of God.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and
then when
true
that
for
comes
all
out
of
you,
us,
like,
right?
It's like God speaking, and you've like done this, where you're talking to people. I talked to a pastor about this. He's like, I seldom remember what I said. I'm like, me too. I'm up moving my mouth, talking
too.
about whatever, and then I was like, I enjoy now watching these videos afterwards and be like, oh yeah, I didn't say that right. And those things about, you know, the way we were beautifully made
Isn't that great?
is having those neural pathways.
That's right.
To where you and I have been here before. We've lived this before. So it might be a touch off, but now all of a sudden we see a thing, a conflict. We come across as we're calm in conflict. Why? Because I've messed this up so many times. I'm actually going to look like I know what I'm doing this time. You know what I mean? You're like, this is what I do. I told my kids this is what we do as Christians. We do this. So when somebody fires off at me, I'm like, boom, just start. This is what I believe. Why? Because Jordan Peterson. I think people are like, if you asked him, like, or if he was saying something, you said, that's a good point. I never thought about that. I believe he would say, I did, like a lot before I spoke. It's a good recipe.
That's a really good recipe.
Think before
I'm going to have to
you
steal
talk,
that one.
right? And it's like, yeah, thinking a
Putting
lot
that in
about
my
it,
arsenal.
talking to God about it. And then not only that, I thought about it. And then I said words that I didn't really come up with, you know, like this
Yeah, and
Holy
you know where
Spirit
that's
show,
coming
you're
from.
like, the
Yes.
Holy Spirit just shows up.
That's exactly
and
right.
blesses not only the room, but you. And man, you can't get enough of that. You're
I
like,
couldn't
okay,
agree with you more.
Amen. Awesome.
And you know, to help people understand that they can make it there and not to get discouraged when they're struggling through and they're starting, it's it's really prayer. Enough can't be said about prayer.
It's so good.
Because
all
we
day,
can
every
get
day.
inculcated and we can sit and read, but you have to have a relationship, that one-on-one, that very intimate, personal relationship. And especially somebody like you that's so inculcated with doctrine and everything, it'd just be fun to sit around inside your noggin when you're praying and see how that goes, because I'm sure it's very special. We're stuck in these earth suits, but we don't have to live like we're stuck in an earth suit.
World. That's right. All right. Last words, Pony. You got it. So we're going to close it up. But what could you say to somebody that just saw this and like, man, that's kind of moved me, and I'd like to be better.
So I guess what I would say is that first and foremost, you have to add the Lord to your life if you don't already have him. And you're going to have to humble yourself, because it takes time to grow in the Word. And so be patient with yourself. Find someone that can help you. And when that person can't help anymore, there's someone else. God will not leave you high and dry. So I think that's the answer to the test for life. And it all starts with God and it ends with God. And without that, it can be a sad wreck of humanity.
Yes. And the sooner the better, right?
Yeah.
It's like the guilt that comes with figuring that out on your deathbed.
I know.
It's like all of a sudden you're like, why didn't I live like this? It's like people are like, I don't believe in God. I'm like, you will. You see him, you will.
Well, and like we talked about too, and I don't think enough Christians think about these things. Everybody talks about going to heaven. You and I just talked about this morning. There's no equality in heaven. We're not all going to be equal. Some will be closer to the throne. Others will be further away. And it's all based on what we do right now with this life that the Lord's given us. We can glorify him or not. But it happens one thought at a time, because that's where everything starts, is right here. Just because you think it here, you don't have to put it here. I might think, if I'm a bad guy, I'm going to shoot that person. Well, I'm thinking it doesn't mean it has to come here.
Yeah.
So really right here.
You had said something that now popped into my head, and it was brilliant. It was, now's the time to serve.
Oh, yeah.
Because once you're in heaven, it's like, no, it's like, look at how much you
This
get
is
to
all
do
you've got.
for this world. It's like God doesn't need us. So it's like you get up and it's like, oh, sweet, Jimmy's here. Whew, close one.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's like, okay, now you're in heaven and you're in God's presence. But he goes, but he loves you enough to right now, you can serve and have an amazing life where, and you don't need money, you don't need whatever, you just need to be faithful.
He will give you everything you need.
Amen.
And you know what else? I think people don't understand this. Sometimes I think some people look at Christians and they think, oh, I could never, this person knows so much about the Bible and this and that, and I'll never get there, because they're just starting out. And that can be very discouraging to kind of almost float that stuff or boast that stuff in a new Christian's face. That should never happen, right? I think that a lot of people need a lot of prayer right now. I think that human works, it's not where it's at.
Give to get, just giving to get.
Yeah, and I think that it's not where it's at. God's not impressed by it. He'll give you all the tools you need to succeed. You control how fast you grow with your volition. I'm going to choose with my chooser to do this or that, because that's what God says. And I think the more you grow, you can grow really fast. Some people have been Christians forever and they've barely grown at all. Yeah. So it's kind of a personal volition thing. And it's such a private thing too, because you can't make somebody become a Christian.
That's right.
It's really an individual thing. And once you let them know that there's no judgment there, there's nothing there, you're in control. Hey, this is all you. How can I help you get there?
Yeah.
Because this is all on you.
Amen.
I just think, I guess circling back, I think that God's the answer to everything, Jimmy.
I think you're right.
First and foremost. And everything comes after that. And if it's adversity or if it's blessing, it doesn't matter. Because with God, all things are possible, right?
It's because it's the right thing to do. I'm not doing it to get something out of it. Why would you do this?
And you're serving him.
Because it's the right thing to do. Meaning righteous, meaning right by God.
That's exactly right, yeah.
All right,
Special.
well, I
Love
loved this time. It was sorry to put you on the spot, because this was like, you know what? While we're talking, let me go get some stuff. And you're like, I'm out of pressure,
I
whatever.
was like, can I comb my hair?
I love you.
Jimmy.
It's so good to see you.
I love you too, my friend.
All right.
Always will. Always have,
Tony
always will.
Anderson, ladies and gentlemen. And love you guys. Till we see you again. God bless each and every one of you. Take care of one another.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Pony.
Thanks to all of you, too. Keep the faith.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again for another episode. Please be sure to follow us and support us on all of the social media. That's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. All of that starts by visiting ableshepherd.com.